Welcome, one and all, to Blueprint here at TradersPost for October 2nd, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Hartman, your friendly neighborhood coder, joined as always by my plucky sidekick, Peter Hartman, repping the TradersPost marketing crew. And yes, we'll be doing part 3 today of the How to Make $10,000 per month as a Pinescript developer on Fiverr and Upwork. It is a mouthy title for a very big payoff. As always, a quick reminder, everything we build here and say here is for educational purposes only and entertainment. We're here to showcase what's possible inside of the retail trading space, not promising profits or predicting your portfolio's future. That being said, we've had a pretty good reception to the first 2 videos where we talk about getting into the retail trading space, not as a trader yourself, but as a developer. Peter, there's all kinds of people out there who were website developers, front end or back end. They know HTML, CSS, PHP, JavaScript, MySQL, Ruby on Rails, Python, and what have you. But they're almost like useless now because we have AI that could just like spin up websites and stuff like that. And so unless you're in the top 20% of your field, you're going to have to look for other work, my friend. And what
useless.
better place?
I don't think they're useless right now.
What better place than the place where all money comes from, the stock market?
Doesn't it come from the Federal Reserve?
The Federal Reserve hands us down the bounty of our liquidity through the financial markets, bond, stocks, and so on. You know the rest.
I know the thing.
Peter, some
Yes.
people were dubious, going, "Hey, can you actually make $10,000 per month?" I go, "Wait a second. First of all, you can make more than that. The only reason to say 10,000 is that it's a nice round number, and Peter said people will find it more believable. Okay. But you can actually make more than that. And when you're out here watching some of these people, the payouts that they're getting through prop firms alone, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month for prop firms, you think there's not money in this space? Come on, guys. There's money in this space. The thing is, trader,
the biggest proof is that, and we showed this in episode 1, part 1, you did this. Like, you showed your receipts, you showed the invoices. Like, it's proven.
That's right. I did do this. And now I didn't show every one of my invoices or anything like that. I'm not trying to be ridiculous here. Not to brag or anything like that. But yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. And that money is still able to be made there because there's so much money within the space. And people need stuff. People need tools. People need access. People need information in order to even become traders. The thing is, not everyone can be a stand-up comic. Maybe you're not good for the stage. Maybe you're not good for prime time in that sense. But you're a good Lauren Michaels. You're good putting on the show. You're good setting it up, right? You're the person behind the scenes making the real cash consistent. So I just want to show people that there's
exploiting those actors out there, making sure they get as least amount of money as possible. You could be that guy or gal.
Look, these degenerate traders are going to be trading out here anyway, and they need people like you, blacksmiths out there, to provide them with the tools they need to fight on the front lines. In fact, the better you do your job, the more you can save them from a fate worse than death. Peter, we're doing the Lord's work here.
The Lord's work.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about in the first videos, really beginner, the idea of how to think about this whole thing, how to step inside of the gig work field. We're focused on Fiverr and Upwork because those are the 2 platforms, one that I've used and that I found consistent buyers looking for indicators, strategies, and other things within the retail trading space. So as a primer, definitely go check out that video. It's very, very useful. Then we moved on to part 2, where we talked about the mechanics of actually setting up your gig, right? The way that you set up your gig and how you advertise yourself, your packages, how you price them, all that matters a lot for differentiating yourself from the pack and getting people to at least message you, if not close with you. But let's say you've done all that. Let's say you're moving up the tier system in Fiverr, or you're getting history in Upwork, and now you're up to $5,000 a month on these platforms, and you're sitting pretty happy. How do you get to that next level? Because you can make $5,000 a month on these platforms, and you're doing it okay, but you're not squeezing all the juice out of there. You sort of like got stuck in a particular type of rut. You're used to a certain type of thing, and what you're really doing is, you might be doing, I remember at one point when I was doing 5K, I was doing something like 8 to 20 gigs per month, which is a lot.
It's a big swing.
And you have to
too.
imagine, yeah, exactly. You have to imagine some of the, well, that's the stress of it. You never know if the gig that you're doing, the person's going to cancel at the end, if you're going to get that money. You never, it might not be very big. So maybe instead of doing one $500 thing, you're doing a $100 things. You don't know how long the gigs will actually take you. You might cancel some of those gigs yourself, realizing that it was more work than you need. So you actually need more gigs than you actually finish by the end of the month in order to get that money in, especially if you're going to rely on it. It can be a churn. So when you're in that $5,000 range and you haven't done some of the tips that we're going to be going over today in order to really bring it to the next level, you could feel like you're in this rat race going, well, I should have just gotten a job somewhere else than to do this. I can make $5,000 a month doing something else. That's more of a punch in, punch out. But if you want to take it to the next step, that's what this video is about. This is how you get to the $10,000 minimum level and higher. This is how you get into what I consider the big leagues, where you're doing maybe 1 to 4 gigs per month, and with reliable money month after month after month after month. All right. So Peter, you ready to step into this?
I am ready to step into this. Before we do that, as your video editor here, is there something going on with your saturation, your colors? Can we improve that a little bit? Can we boost it up a little bit? Is the hub on?
It is. I can give it a shot.
I mean, my colors were a little too punchy, but yours are a little muted. I'm making you look, basically I'm making you look bad.
Well,
I'm making you look, like when you're watching a movie or something, and then there's like the fun times, and then there was like the bad times. You look like the bad times. Okay, now it's much better.
Much better.
That's much better. I'll tone mine down to make you look better. I'll make myself worse to make you better, just like I always have.
That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Pretend to be stupid just so you can seem smart,
Exactly.
Like your ego. Yeah.
Oh my God, you do it so well, you fool even the Lord Almighty himself. All right. First up, so next level, Fiverr, Upwork. Now, again, we're focusing on Fiverr because everything we're saying here works for Upwork, and it's less restrictions, less features on Upwork. Upwork is really the types of people that you're going to find over there are more, well, actually, there's all kinds. It's the same kinds of people on Fiverr, but it's more of you are reaching out to solicit, to people who have soliciting workers. So on Fiverr, you're sitting there, people are coming to you. On Upwork, the buyers are sitting there and you're going there trying to get that. So it's usually easier because you're getting all the details of the project, or as much as they're willing to provide. And you already know if this is good or not. You already know if you can do it or not. You already know if it might be worth the money or not, in large part. And you're just pitching them and be like, hey, I'd be good for this. And by if they do contact you, then you're having this conversation with them either in chat or live in order to get to where you need to get to. But the other parts where you are on Fiverr, you can have a whole tier system. So you can go from new level seller all the way up to tier 1, 2, top seller, Fiverr Pro. There's different ways you can do that. You're looking to farm star ratings. You're looking to farm reviews. It's far more of an involved process that I find. That's why I focus on Fiverr. Now, we're not going to go over all the same details we went over last one. So let's just stick ahead. I'm going to assume you've watched that video. If you haven't, please go ahead and click on part 2 and watch that fully through before we move over here. But the one thing I wanted to re-mention that we did touch on the last video, which is this idea of Fiverr has milestones available for a project. That means when you have an offer, when you have an offer that's been accepted by the customer, instead of having a one-time fee, so instead of them paying $1,000 right out the gate, held in escrow for you to finish the project, you can split it up into, let's say, 4 $250 milestones. And if you do it that way, the person only has to put up the money for the next milestone before you move forward, and they can approve the project in milestones so that you actually get paid sooner. Now, in theory, this seems good, right? In theory, hey, it's $1,000 project. They completed the first milestone. That $250 is now being cleared in my account. I can get that money. But what happens is that the customer doesn't see this as a separate thing. To them, it's one big order. And if you get to the third or fourth milestone at the end or whatever, however you split that up, and then that person decides, I don't like the way this project is going, and they cancel the whole project, your whole project is gone. Like, you lose all the way through. And if they ask for a refund, they might want a refund for the entire project. So it can be a headache. You're not actually saving yourself any you're not saving yourself any work there. Sure, the customer doesn't have to put up the whole money at first, but I almost don't like that. One of the reasons I like them paying the money up front is I want to know they have it. And some people will split up a project so they have to put less money down. And the idea that they have in mind is that they're going to use your indicator and strategy. They're going to make money, and then they'll be able to pay you afterwards. That's the way they're thinking about it. So when you split up the milestones that are too small for for certain types of people, you're almost like on layaway, and you sort of want to avoid that. Also, the benefit of splitting up so if I have a project that needs to be in milestones, and it makes sense to have those milestones, I'll actually do those as separate orders. Right? So for example, let's say someone wants to ultimately have an indicator for automation afterwards. They want to connect it so that they can have these buy and sell signals traded automatically. I might do one order that's creating the indicator. That is, these are the steps, these are the components of the strategy that need to be set up, whether that's overbought, oversold levels, if that's pricing levels, price action, whatever it is. I build the indicator itself. Then I go, okay, complete that. If that's completed, you have the indicator. Now let's do a second order where I turn that into a strategy. So now I'm converting this into a strategy, and it's going to be able to use the strategy features on TradingView in order to send buy and sell signals automatically. And then if they approve that, then it's okay, now we can deal with automation, which would be, let's say, setting it up with TradersPost in order to make sure that the whole automation process is working fine. You're following through the whole process. You're logging into their account on their behalf or doing a screen share with them, making sure the signals go through. They're testing it live and all that sort of thing, right? So if you do all that in one order, even if the order goes fine, one, you got to wait for the money to get in. And two, you only get one review from that. You only get 1 star rating, and you only get 1 order completed. But if you split up in those three ways, like I just described for that scenario, you get 3 reviews, 3 orders completed, 3 stars. Your account is active. You get more visibility. You're placed higher inside of the rankings and all that. It's showing that you're active. All right. Oh yes, absolutely. So here I just gave an example of an upgrade path. I generally split my my orders into 3: indicator, strategy, and automation. For the vast majority of people who are contacting me online, what they're trying to do is automate a given strategy, and I try to get as many orders as I can that make sense out of that. I also recommend that we're going to be talking about the different types of people who purchase these indicators, who have higher budgets. But if I know, I'll always ask a potential client, is this indicator or strategy for yourself, or is it for sale? If it's for sale, I charge a higher amount for commercial projects. The idea there is that I'm going to be writing that indicator. This is the pitch. I'm going to be documenting the code more, right? So when it's for commercial projects, I'm documenting the code more. I am writing it in such a way that it is easier for another developer to go in and fix later on. And I'm expecting quality of life stuff like more specific tool tips, more specific granular information that the user might want on the front end. All kinds of different features can be added or might be necessary when you're dealing with a script that needs to be sold commercially than if it's for an individual. Does that make sense, Peter?
Yes, it does.
Excellent. Now, the next point here is something that Peter brought up, I believe in our last video, or maybe the video before that, which is the idea that you need if you have a proper camera and a proper mic and proper lighting when you're jumping on a Zoom call with a potential customer, just that initial look of what you look like there and how professional you look, boom, sets you apart from everybody else. Peter, I cannot tell you how many times I knew I already sold that client the moment I jumped on the Zoom call, and I've literally had people go, wow, because I'm dressed properly, I have the right lighting and all that. And sure, even if my picture right now is not perfect, I'm leaps better than 95% of the other people who jump on camera. And of those people jumping on camera, it's 90% of people who they're not even thinking about getting on camera. They're not even suggesting that. There's no way they're going to do that. Or they jump on Zoom and it's just their name or a fake avatar that's there. So it's totally worth it. Now, Peter, you brought up the idea here that you can order the equipment from Amazon, try it out for a while, and then return it. Want to give a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so there's two things that you can do there. One, let's say you're not sure if this is going to work for your setup. You're not sure if you're going to be able to do it properly. Don't worry about it. If you have Amazon, if you have access to Amazon, you can order something from Amazon. Make sure that it's shipped from Amazon and that you can return it. And you have 30 days in order to try it out. As long as you don't bash it into a million pieces, you can return it no problem. Such an easy, stress-free, this is not an ad for Amazon, but such an easy, stress-free way of returning things. I've returned things at Walmart, and Walmart's like, why are you returning this? And what's going on? And what? And I'm like, look, I'm returning it. Okay, I don't know why I have to have this argument. I don't have any argument with Amazon. So you can send it back there. So try out those things. Maybe you see something, you don't know how well it's going to work for you. Try it out for a month, see how that affects you. Now, Amazon sometimes, depending on your account, you can have a payment plan. I'm not talking about an interest payment plan. I'm talking about the Amazon payment plan, 0 interest. Do not buy things on interest. What's the point? Just save up for it and then buy it when you're ready. Don't buy anything on interest. But sometimes Amazon will give you, and this can be specific for an individual. Like I'll see, I have a payment plan offer, Tom won't, and then it'll be vice versa. If you have a payment plan offer, you can have 6 months to pay for something. And if you return it, there's no harm, no foul. You'll still get your money back. So you might not even be out the initial cost of that purchase on your credit card and your debit account. You can just do it and try it for 2 months now, 3 months now. See how it works with your flow. See if you can actually make the money up with whatever work you're doing. So there's nothing that's limiting you from trying something out to see if it works for you, seeing if you're technically proficient with it, if you even want to bother with it. And you might try out something high end. A lot of people I talk to, they want to get the Sony A7 III, A7 IV. You can handle with a webcam. The Facecam 4K is a good webcam. Obspot, Instalink. There's some lesser things now that are really good quality. You don't need to be like Tom and I using a DSLR camera. So try out high end, low end, see how it works for you, gain the experience, and stand out from the crowd.
Excellent. Well, and the other part I would go for that for the production quality is that sometimes either initially when you are setting, maybe you have some questions for the person. They sent you a list of things that they want for the project, and you're sending back a bunch of questions. Sometimes it's not useful to send them like a Bible back with like 9 different questions and back and forth, and it can be a little bit of a hassle. What I like to do instead is send especially if I'm trying to pitch myself, I'm trying to explain myself, I can't jump on a Zoom with them, I'll send them a Loom or a Screen Studio video in order to explain what I'm doing. So if you want to show my screen here, Peter, Loom is an application that probably everyone's familiar with that allows you to do recordings. So you do a recording from your computer. It does you share your screen, and then you can have your picture on that shows up on the bottom right, and then you are marking out the video. It is very useful for someone to see that you have taken the time to make a video to touch on what it is that they want to do, whether that's pointing out indicators that they refer to, or YouTube videos that they refer to, or even the message that they have in Fiverr. You're just showing that you're spending that extra time. Now, Loom is not my favorite thing to do. I use Screen Studio. So I use Screen Studio recordings because this is a Mac only application. And what it does is that all this animation about zooming in to different locations, have a more granular control of how it looks like, editing it within a very simple drag and drop editor, as opposed to something big like Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. anybody can pick this up. You don't need to be a you don't have to go to what's that Full Sail University. You don't have to be a director of a Michael Bay. I'm trying to think of Spielberg. There we go. I don't know why I can't think of a popular director. You don't have to be a Steven Spielberg in order to get great animation, zoom levels, and all that. You can use applications like this, Screen Studio, in order to wow people. All right. So if you're answering quickly, you're sending them a Loom or a Screen Studio video, they're able to see that you're taking it seriously. It makes it way easier, one, for them to take you on as a developer, and two, for you to charge more, because you look how much time and effort that I put into even just contacting you. Can you imagine what I'll do for your project? All right. So after that, so your presence and assets. Now, this is something I had experimented with at the beginning, but I didn't move forward completely with, because I had so many customers that it didn't I didn't need to. Plus, I was moving towards TradersPost, but this was going to be the step that I wanted to jump on, which is a portfolio site. You can create a website that is a portfolio of your indicators of what you're doing. So, for example, well, I'll just show mine real quick here, not to be all grandiose. So this is my site that showed indicators and stuff like that on my to clients. And what's great about that is that you're able to have more granular control over what you're displaying, instead of it just having screenshots of portfolio items on Fiverr or on Upwork. You could send them the link, and you could really have way more detail, use case studies for the different things that you've done, and really show yourself in the best light. Nowadays, creating websites, you just create a template, and you can go to Webflow templates, and let me just go ahead and show you one. You can just get a template from anywhere here. It might cost you, what is it, $70, $100 something for a template to showcase your skills. So to me, to spend $50 on something like this, $100 on something like this, learn how to set it up, or hire someone on Fiverr to set it up for me, use AI in order to help write the content, take some screenshots of what I'm doing, is a no-brainer in order to set myself above the pack. So there's Webflow, there's WordPress, there's Framer, there's all these different tools that you can use in order to quickly get a website online in order to showcase your skills. Sometimes, depending on this is not something I have to push very much, but it can make you look really impressive, and that's to have an FAQ document that you send to people. Right. So if you have an FAQ document, like you go, look, these are the 15 questions that people normally ask. I'm just letting you know that right off the bat. This is how I work. This is the time frame you can expect the work to be delivered in. This is how I handle problems. These are the rights that you have to the content versus what I have to the content. If you have an FAQ document already prepared in a PDF file or a link on your website, you can just send that to the customer, and it makes it look like, oh, this person's already thought of a bunch of questions I didn't even get into. All right, so super, super useful. It can be very useful to have an FAQ document. Now, there is an FAQ section within Fiverr, but I find a lot of people don't go down there into the FAQ section for the gig. So it's useful to have a document or a copy and paste note snippet that you send to clients. Okay, so that's all about how you're presenting yourself. Now I want to touch on this idea again of high value services. So these are all things around what you will be doing that you can actually charge more for. That makes what you're doing worthwhile. That makes your higher prices worthwhile. All right. So at first, I was only doing the Pinescript indicators and strategies. That's all I was doing. Then people kept asking for things that I just had no experience with, either other platforms that he wanted me to integrate with. So they'll say something like, "Hey, can you make this so that my indicator sends signals to my Discord or my Telegram?" And at first I was like, well, I don't know how to do that, how to send signals to your Discord or Telegram. So I just kept telling them no until I was like, wait, I could just charge more for this. So I figured out how to do it. And then I'd be like, yeah, I could send it over there, but it'll be an extra $250 in order to do it. Or you want the messages customizable, it'll be an extra $350. Right? You want both Telegram and Discord. Oh, I'll give you, normally it's $250 each, but I'll give you a bundle price. I'll do $400 for both of them. And all of a sudden I was able to add this extra feature on top of what I was doing as a value add. TradersPost for automation. So a lot of people will want to automate their strategies. Like quite a bit of people want to automate their strategies. The holy grail inside of the retail trading space is to have a bot trading for you. And so if you can tell them, hey, I have a proficiency with TradersPost, and this platform allows you to connect to all kinds of different brokers and prop firms in order to do what you need to do. A lot of people don't know that this exists. I remember before, when I first started, I wanted to connect to interactive brokers, and so I had to build out a whole tool, a whole process to connect to interactive brokers, which is such a huge pain in the butt. Then when I learned that these services exist, like TradersPost, and I could be like, hey, I actually can solve your problem. I can save you the extra $3,000 that you would need to pay in order to connect to a broker, and you can use this service instead. And you can use my referral code for it. So I'm going to get a little bit of a kickback on that front. And I save them money. And because I already know how to use the platform, it's easy for me to get you up and running. Customers love this value add. They go, because they were only contacting you thinking they were going to need to do this separately. The idea that you become an all-in-one service is super, super sweet for them. All right. So that's where you can all of a sudden now double the cost of your package, because you go, okay, it's $1,000 for me to create it's $500 for me to create your indicator, another $500 for me to upgrade it into a strategy, and let's go ahead with another $500 to automate it. So all of a sudden, this thing that you would only charge $500 before for now turns into a $1,500 project. All right, pretty awesome. And there's all kinds of other services you might want to connect to. The user might want to be able to integrate with Zapier or Make for routing signals. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Zapier or Make, but Zapier is an automation tool. So this is what I would use if sometimes I would use if I wanted to connect their indicator strategy to Discord or Telegram or Twitter or what have you. It allows you to send a signal through here and then pass that through a process in order to do all that. So being proficient with Zapier and Make, knowing what things they connect with, knowing how the platform works, and then you could tell the customer, oh, I can handle it from there, and you're walking through this process, is super is a great value add. One thing that one thing that's great is if people want to publish the indicators on TradingView. This is not always a straightforward process for the user. They might not even realize the little bit of extra work that it takes to actually write a description that makes sense, that goes through what the indicator does, what are different features, where you're setting up the chart properly, where they are that you're not violating any of the guidelines for TradingView, because I've had customers come back after trying to do it themselves and they go, TradingView pulled down my indicator a few days after I published it, or sometimes even a few weeks to a few months after I published it, and I'm not sure what's going on. And it turns out they violated some way, some process that TradingView doesn't want, and they need someone like you to fix it. Something that used to happen all the time on Fiverr is that people would copy someone else's indicator, like just copy the code for someone else's indicator, then make a few small changes, and then try to republish it. It's like, well, you can't do that. You can, but there's a way of going about doing that you don't trigger a bunch of flags, trigger a bunch of reporting from people on the platform, and get your indicator taken down. It can be a real serious problem for people who have commercial indicators. So publish in a couple of extra $100 on a plan in order to publish the indicator for them, or to help them through their account to publish it. Super useful. And then that also includes stuff like, if you have any propensity for video editing, for copywriting, or anything like that, they might want you to create a website for the indicators. They might want you to create shorts or videos on YouTube for the indicators. They might want you to create the docs section for the site for the indicators. All kinds of different things like this that that you can charge extra for, and you can pitch to the client once you understand what their actual needs are. All right. So these are just the things that I've touched on, things that I've done, but you can think outside of the box for where you have particular skills, and then think tangentially there, what are other things that it can do that might actually be helpful for this, for the indicator. All right. Moving on to partnerships and capacity. So here we're talking about the value add services, the way to break down your project in order to charge appropriately and charge more. But now, what happens if you end up in a situation where you have more demand for indicators and strategies than you can fulfill? Well, you have two other choices that pop up. I was an idiot before. I've just turned down the gigs. I have no, I don't have time for this. You're gonna have to ask somebody else. Well, I can find that somebody else for them. So what I would do is, after I was there for a while, I would reach out to people. I would try to hire a Pinescript developer, all right, and cultivate a relationship with a Pinescript developer who was charging less than I was. I'd be like, hey, I could send you some gigs. So you pay them their fee, and I would I would charge, let's say, $250 for some indicator that somebody wanted, but someone would do it for me for $100. So I would pay them the $100. Usually I would give them a little extra. I would say, hey, I'll give you an extra tip if you get it done within this period of time or whatever, and then pay them that. And it can work great if you develop this relationship with 2 or 3 Pinescript developers. One, you are helping them get 5-star ratings, regular orders, and reviews, so they're going to be good and willing to work with you. They know that you're in the same industry. They know where you're coming from, so they are likely to be very good to work with if they see the value there. And some of them have expertise, can develop expertise in areas you're not fully expert in. So maybe you don't want to deal with pairs trading or performance trackers, or certain types of indicators. You can pass that off to them. Maybe they're good at tangential work. So maybe you're doing the indicator part, but they're a good web developer, right? So you're dealing with the web developer. They don't do any of the indicator programming. There's the web developer, but you can then have that as an add-on service that you're offering to your client, that you upsell to your client, and you pay them their fee. So super useful to have, to gain a small group of people, that workers on these platforms that you can go and hire in order to send work their way and still take advantage of that demand that you've built up. Some of these, though, you might decide, I don't want to go through the headache of being the project manager for that. I don't want to have to upsell the project, that product to the client, and then manage the expectations and be the person talking to them, all that sort of thing. Well, you can just go ahead and send that referral to somebody else, and just have an arrangement with them that they'll give you a kickback on that referral. So I would send it to somebody else. Hey, give me 15% on this. I'm going to send you this client. Then the client doesn't have to have the upsell cost. They have the lower cost that's closer to what that vendor would actually charge, and it's hands off from there. I'm not promising that they're giving good output. I just take my money and move on from there. So when you get to a higher level of demand, or it's a project you just don't want to do, just getting the referral could be really, really great. All right. Any questions so far, Peter? Does this make sense to you?
This makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate it. You're really doing a deep dive here. I'm having a hard time seeing how, if somebody pays attention to all 3 parts, part 1, 2, and 3, they're not going to dramatically improve their offering on Fiverr, or if you haven't even started yet, I think this should motivate you to get started.
there's such a runway. There's so much more you can go with this. Like, I really want people to think that the $10,000 a month for what you're doing here is not unreasonable at all. At all, at all, at all. You have to think to yourself that just inside the prop firm space, we're not even talking about crypto and crypto futures. We're not talking about forex and all that. Just within the prop firm space, I looked at the stats recently of something like $20 billion, $20 billion industry. It's grown 1,200% over the last 10 years. And when I look at the trajectory, it's almost like what the altcoin and meme coin market was last cycle 5 years ago. So if it continues on that trend, you can expect an explosion of the number of people within the prop firm space. Even more than that, you can have they're going to be lowering, the United States is lowering the requirements for the pattern day trading rule, where you don't have to have $25,000 in order to trade. You just need $2,000 to trade. Well, that's going to get a lot more people in, folks. A lot more people within the market. So the demand is going to increase. And then you have people out there for the, Robinhood is pioneering this, the tokenization of different assets, including private equity assets. So the types of things that people are going to be able to trade is going to increase. The 24/7 natureness of trading is going to increase. And so getting in on the ground floor, to me, the indicator strategy world right now feels like what the web development world felt like in 2005, 2007. Right? There was such an explosion after that, way more that you can do between plugins for WordPress and SEO and social media optimization and mobile responsiveness and the whole thing. There's so much more ahead of us in 2007 in the web development world than was behind us. And the same thing is true for now. If you think it plateaus around here, you are wrong. How many all-time highs do we have to see in markets? We've reached an all-time high today before you realize there's not going to be any shortage of people in this space, onboarding into the space, or who want to try something different. It's fantastic. All right. Now we are going to move towards a couple of final items here, because of the types of people you want to be targeting. There's more than just the retail traders. There's different levels of people within the space, and you have to treat them a little bit differently. But Peter, what you wanted to say here about TradersPost YouTube?
Yeah, I want to let everybody know that if you're enjoying this kind of content, let us know by liking the video. This lets us know that we should do more content like this. We have a world of options before us, and how we decide what road we go down will depend on you. So like, comment, subscribe, whatever you need to do to let us know you like this content. TradersPost is not just a blueprint. It's not just letting you know how to make $10,000 a month being a Pinecode developer. We also have other streams that are happening here. So we have a Price Action Live, where you can see Mike Christensen and Tom Hartman and special guests trade prop firm trading 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You guys do Friday now, right, Tom?
Yeah, Friday.
And Friday as well. So you can go and take a look at past episodes. They're live on the YouTube channel, but you could also subscribe so you're alerted when they go live every single day. Also, there are trading bot sessions. This is where Mike Christensen does these interviews with traders. Prop firm traders, quants. There's one with Ernie Chan that's up there right now. Our very own Trevor was interviewed. Mike Christensen, just before I got onto here, was interviewing someone else, so that's going to be going up very soon. Very interesting conversations. Look, if you want to see how people are making money trading using prop firms, trading bot session is definitely the one for you. So that's happening as well. After Hours takes place on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's where Tom will give you market commentary on what's been going on. And office hours, if you're using TradersPost and you want to find out, hey, any new features coming up, I got some questions, I want to know what's going on, office hours is the place for you. Tom Hartman and Mike Christensen do that Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Does it sound like I'm saying a lot? It sounds like I'm saying a lot because there is a lot on the YouTube channel for TradersPost. So like and subscribe so you can be a part of the fun. Tom.
That's right. It's just fantastic. We're always here trying to do whatever we can in order to help you. We want you to make money, folks. We want you to be successful. I remember meeting Mike. It was more than 2 years ago now. I can't believe it. And he's like, I want people to be not just traders but good traders, and he really wants to be part of that journey. Really wants to be part of that truth. Guys, before we move off to our last section, let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Looking for a prop firm that actually plays nice with automation? Meet BluSky, built for serious traders. And with TradersPost, it just clicks. You connect BluSky inside TradersPost, route your TradingView signals to paper or funded accounts, and let it auto-manage entries, stops, and targets. You control risk per trade, filter by session and symbol, and pause or resume with a single switch. Every fill is easy to review in one dashboard. Funded accounts can request payouts daily with launch plans starting at $49. Get funded with BluSky. Execute with TradersPost. Apply today at blusky.pro, BLUSKY.pro, and plug in your edge. Trading involves risk. Use proper risk management.
Back. All right. So, guys, retail traders, the person who just wants the indicator and strategy just to trade themselves, there's a lot of them. And they're always gonna come in and they're gonna want to pay. All right. You're gonna find it hard to charge them any more than between $250 and $750 for any indicator strategy. You could push it up to around $2,500. You can, but less and less people will want to go pay those prices, right? Way more people want to pay $50 for an indicator than $1,000 for an indicator strategy. So you're looking at a window between 100 on the low end, let's call it 250 for your baseline, and you give them a deal on $100, 250 to around 750. That's what you can expect to charge, and then you can just run the gamut between 50 and 2,500 for what you can expect of people to pay, retail traders to pay. But there's other types of people, and who to them 2,500 is like the floor. In fact, I had one person, the first time it clicked on my head, where I gave them a quote of $2,500, and they said, "Oh, I don't think you understand like what I'm trying to ask for here. We might not be a good fit," because he was expecting I was going to say $10,000, and he couldn't. If the idea that I was suggesting such a lowball figure, he's like, "Oh, okay, I thought you were you're a higher level." I was very embarrassed by that. I was like, "Oh no, I'll do 10,000." I was like, "No, I don't think you understand. That's not how this works."
I've experienced that before. Yeah, you better to charge higher and then discount it than to start low, and then people, I don't know. If I see something being offered and the price is, if I go on to buy, let's say I want to buy, I was looking for a USB dock to buy for a Mac, and then I see the dock and I see it's like $25, and I'm like, wait, why is this dock only $25? Like some no-name brand 25. I go over to a professional one, it's like 400. I'm like, okay, I'm expecting this one to be more reliable. It's not always true, but price can definitely indicate quality. It definitely indicates that you think that what you're offering is worth something.
Well, on the Fiverr Pro, no one's charging $50, so that'll tell you that. Once you get upgraded to the big leagues, that's not what you're expecting. So there are 4 types of people that you want to pay attention to. Now, this requires in the onboarding, before you quote a client, you need to know what they want to use it for. All right. If you don't get this information, you have to treat them as a regular retail trader. So you need to find out from them, what are you going to do with the indicators and strategies? Are you going to sell them? Are you going to distribute access? What is the purpose? If they don't want to tell you, well, depending on how they say no, I've rarely had a good person, like someone who I wanted to work with, who wouldn't tell me what they wanted to use it for. They want to secretly get, retail prices, like low prices, but they want to sell it for more. Like that doesn't generally happen. So the 4 types of people you want to be paying attention for, or the cases, is trading communities. So there's trading communities. There are thousands of trading communities and growing. No, the three trading communities you're a part of are not the only ones that are out there. There are thousands of them. All right, and they often want to create indicators or strategies to as a value add for their community. right? So either they're selling it or they are, generally speaking, not selling it. They just want to add it to their community. It could be a dashboard of so they might have like some sort of formula that they follow in order to tell if a stock or a crypto or whatever is um, is in a perfect setup, right? So you might create the indicator for that, and they might say, okay, now run a screener so that I can show a dashboard of 200 of these symbols that meet that setup, and they're trying to do that as a value add for the customer. Well, that's useful for you to know because one, you can go into the Discord or whatever, see how many people are there. You can be like, okay, look, generally speaking, if you're going to do something like that, I'm going to charge an extra 50% for this indicator, or whatever price you want to make, if the goal is to distribute it in that way. And I don't think I've ever had anybody say, "Oh no, well, that doesn't make any sense," because the idea is that more people are using it. It's the difference between, am I going to watch this movie, or am I trying to show this movie at a park in front of 500 people and charging $10 a head. Like, obviously you would need a different license in a sense in order to do that. Same thing is true for these indicators. So I've rarely had anyone ever had a problem with that. Second are indicator vendors. If people are planning on selling this indicator, chances are the thing they're doing with you is not the only part of it. They're dealing with a marketing team. They're dealing with merchant processors. They're dealing with charting softwares. They're in the space. And so chances are their budget is for their whole project might be $20,000 to $100,000 per year in order to get this thing going. And so you can charge them a larger amount for the indicators with the understanding that you're going to be there as a support. Updates needs for the indicators, feedback that they're getting from their customers, from their users in order to tweak it. I've had indicator vendor relationships that lasted a whole year, because they don't necessarily know how that will be received, how the indicator that you created for them will be received, and they'll want to know that you're going to be there, right? That you're not just to be a drive-by creator. That 6 months from now, if they need some help, that you're going to be there for it. And yes, I've had those experiences where someone goes, "Hey, I actually was trying to run this. It turns out you made it to run on 50 symbols. I didn't realize that I really needed for 200 symbols. There's no space on my chart, or it's broken, or whatever. Can you rejigger it in order for this to work?" And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Here's my little extra support fee," or however you want to negotiate the price in order to be there for them. They get to be at the top of the list whenever the support, they get priority support. All kinds of great things can happen when you're dealing with this type of commercial vendor. There are also people who have training programs. This is a very common one. So think of those people who are selling trading courses. They're selling stuff like, "Hey, we help you pass prop firm accounts." There's all kinds of programs out there for traders that you can that they'll want to create indicators or strategies for as an add-on to their bundle. So those people again will are happy to pay more. And the fourth one are Tradefluencers. This is a term that comes from Tyler Davis. I like the term Tradefluencer. So think of the YouTube channel, 50,000 to 100,000 subscribers. They're live trading. They're on Twitch. They might want to have something that turns their process to be like, "Hey, can you take my last 10 streams and come up with indicators that that represent my trading style?" And that way I can sell access to those. Gareth Soloway, I remember seeing him do this with LuxAlgo. LuxAlgo made a series of indicators for him based on his trading styles, for his perfect setups and all that sort of thing. So Tradefluencers out there, they're making money. So they'll go ahead and pay for the indicators. What's great with these people is that they'll actually, all of these targets is that they'll often buy multiple indicators, right? So these guys, especially Tradefluencers they'll sometimes buy a bundle of 10, 20 indicators at once. So that way, okay, I can give you a flat fee across all the indicators. Give me, 10,000. That'll cover me for a month or two. I don't have to solicit other contracts right away. Gives me some breathing room. That's why I'm going to give you a little bit of a discount, and you have this ongoing relationship with them. And then you add on to that stuff like I'll write the descriptions for you. I'll set up the charts for you. I'll do all these extra things. And all of a sudden, a $10,000 gig can turn into a $30,000 gig or more. Great. That I've had several times. And some of those projects will turn into a 6-month experience, 6-month contract. And that relief of, oh, I have 6 months worth of runway where I don't have to go chasing a bunch of people. Now I can experiment with raising my prices for the demand that's coming in, because I don't have to take another contract for somebody for the next 3 months. I don't even have to think about it for the next 3 months, and I can experiment there. Super, super useful. And that's how you can leapfrog your way up to higher and higher and higher amounts. Not only are you going to pay more from them, but you're going to pay more from the people for the demand that you have already. So the two final things I want to mention here for the catalog. So these on-market targets, definitely keep those in mind: trading communities, indicator vendors, trading programs, and Tradefluencers. But your product catalog is useful too. So very often, retail traders will come to you and say, do you have something off the shelf I could use? They don't got no idea. They want you to come up with an idea that they can trade, right? And I used to tell these people no all the time. But you can make pre-made strategies. And you go, look, I'm not guaranteeing the success, but I have this pre-made strategy that you can run. Now, here's the thing. Don't make the strategy specific to a specific setup that you just press the button and run it. Make it so there's a bunch of different options that they can toggle. Ranges they could toggle, different settings, different take profit levels, different types of order executions, or what have you. That way, you're not selling a specific strategy. You're selling a tool that allows them to dial in.
This is like those website builders where instead of getting a specific template, you get like I don't know what they call it, not a 13-in-1, but like modular template.
Exactly. So you can say, look, I ran this before on gold for 3 weeks. Look at the results that I have in a chart. So you just dial in the numbers so that it looks good. Your performance metrics looks good for one particular range. You go, I don't know if it'll work for different ranges, but I'll send you this indicator for $250. You got to do no work. They pay the $250. You give them the indicator. You move on with your day. You're not even doing anything with them. And those people message you all the time. And you don't care. You're like, fine. The person says, I don't want to pay $250 for it. I'll pay $100 for it. What do you care? Take whatever.
We get asked at TradersPost all the time for
exactly. Now you have to make sure that you do not give them the code for it. What you do is that you publish it privately and make the code blocked, and that way they're just getting access to it. Super, super useful. You can use a platform like WHOP.com in order to provide access to the indicator. Or you just take your TradingView username and you add them manually in the back end. So pre-made strategies, pre-made indicators, use strategies. I've never had anyone ask for a pre-made indicator, but pre-made strategies that people ask for all the time. And finally, white label indicators. So when indicator vendors are coming to you, trading communities are coming to you, trading programs, sometimes they don't have anything specific. They don't have anything specific for you to for any idea that they want you to create. What they want you to do is you come up with something. Well, if you already have a set of, and this is what I had a set of about 10 white label scripts. So I knew people always ask for ICT stuff, order blocks, break of structure, change of character, fair value gaps, or what have you. I had a set of indicators of all kinds that were white label that I could then have them tell me how they wanted it to be modified. I'd modify the scripts a little bit and then sell them that. So that out of the box, they have a bundle of 10 indicators that they can sell. This is the beauty in two ways. One, you might be like, Tom, but then it's just the same indicators again and again and again. Excuse me, have you seen the indicator libraries up there? Are you under the misconception that there are a million different ways that people are trading? People are trading the same sort of ideas. All right. It's just that guy's RSI is set to a 14 period, and that guy's RSI is set to 12, and that guy uses 2 RSIs, and that one uses an RSI with an EMA. All right. We're not you're not reinventing the wheel here, all right? We're not quants inside of the retail trading space in this way. People are generally using the same sort of ideas. So if you can shortcut it, so you did the work once, but you can sell the same indicator package again and again and again and again and again with small modifications, someone who's on the fence, or maybe your prices are too high, they don't want to pay $2,500 for the package. You'd be like, okay, but a $1,000 package, I would make some small modifications and it's yours. They'd be like, oh, and that code, you don't really care if they have access to the code because it's just like every other thing. And people will do that all the time. What, I get a turnkey solution? I could just tomorrow, like in 3 days, I could toss onto my group and sell it to them each for $40 a month subscription or whatever. They're like, yeah, I'll do that. People do that all day, every day. So having pre-made scripts like that, super, super useful. Peter, I feel like I laid out all the tricks, all the information, all the stuff that took me 3 years in order to figure out, all in 3 videos.
That's what I wanted to ask you. When you first started this, like, you didn't know this stuff. How long did it take you to figure this out?
Well, I already had my background in web development, right? So I already knew how to deal with clients. I already knew how to price things or whatever. Right. So, but what I didn't know, and I don't know why I'm so stupid, but that in the retail trading space, there's billions of dollars floating around. At first I couldn't believe who's paying me to write indicators. There's free indicators in the community libraries. People can go to YouTube videos and find stuff. And now this AI, why would anyone need to hire me for indicators? And then I realized there's as many people out there. You know how many people, they sit in front of an AI thing and they want to go and request an indicator and they go, I can't do that. They're like, I don't want to do that. And the richer someone is, the less they want the headache of it. Right. But are you kidding me? Look, how about I just peel off $10,000 off of my $500,000 account, and you just deal with it.
They'll lose,
take care of it.
They'll lose $10,000 in the market, so why not pay someone?
I've lost $10,000 in the market, and if I could have paid someone $5,000 in order to save myself the headache, of course I would do it. So I did not. What I didn't know at the time was how much money there was. I had no clue. In fact, I think there's more money there than there is in web development, what I was doing before. Because to convince a dentist to give you $10,000 for a website for some reason is way harder than to convince a regular trader, just a regular person, to give you $5,000 in order to build their thing out for you. Because there is money in this space. This is one of those things where there is money within the space. Anyways, go out there. Go forth, be fruitful, and multiply. I want you guys to be successful, and there's plenty enough room out there for everybody. Specialize in what you want to specialize in. Use your knowledge of other fields in order to make yourself give yourself some value add, and keep raising those prices. You know your prices are too low when you have more demand than you can fill, and they're too high if no one wants to accept your prices. That's it, Peter. We'll be back next Thursday with another blueprint. But until then, we wish you, as always, happy trading.